Well, at least we didn't blow a 3-goal third period lead this time.
Wow. You have to get up, do what they do. But that was insane. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on! I make go records, baby. I'm liking this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. Blackhawks just completed their 63rd game of the regular season. First game after the trade deadline has passed. And the Blackhawks lose in St. Louis to the Blues by a score of 6-5. Similar game result to the last time these two teams played. Blackhawks with a third period lead and then proceed to give up 4 goals in said third period just to lose. Now, there's a lot of reasons the Blackhawks lost this game. If you're going to blame it on the moves that they made during the trade deadline that just passed, you're a little bit misguided. Now, I did make a video recapping the moves the Blackhawks made. I'll put a link down in the description below. Check that out if you haven't already. But essentially, the Blackhawks moved Robin Lehner and Erik Gustafsson away. Those two guys wouldn't have really had an impact on this game. So the Blackhawks lost this game the way, or for the reason why they lost all pretty much their other games this year, and that's just turnovers, mistakes, poor defense. Corey Crawford was absolutely fantastic in this game, and I know that sounds ridiculous when you look at the scoreline and see that he gave up 6 goals in this game, but seriously, the Blues could have had 6 goals in the first 10 minutes of this game alone. The Blackhawks just started this game absolutely horrifically. It was a very trash start for them. I don't know if their minds were just still in the dumps from the trade deadline, but they surely hadn't woken up yet. And the Blues probably should have scored more than they did. The Blues would get a power play just 11 seconds into the first period. They would convert on that power play. They would get the early 1-0 lead, and 10 minutes into this game, you're like, okay, this is how the rest of this season's going to go. Thankfully, the Blackhawks would get a power play opportunity halfway through the first period, and that would help kind of get their heads out of their butts in this game. Now, the Hawks' power play is ranked dead last in the league, but over the last couple games, it has looked a lot better. And it would be one of the main reasons that this game went down to the wire. Jonathan Toews would win the draw, left-hand dot, set play, gets the puck back to Duncan Keith. Jonathan Toews goes to a spot in the high slot, which he got called for interference on during the Dallas game, which nullified the Jakubczak goal, which would have tied the game up. That was a horrific call. But thankfully, the refs were sane in this game and did not call it. Duncan Keith kind of walks in a little bit and rips it by Binnington for his 100th goal of his career. And let's talk about that. Duncan Keith had an opportunity to get his 500th career assist, his 600th career point, and his 100th career goal all at the exact same time. But he doesn't want just one souvenir puck. No, he wants all 3. So he decides to get his 500th assist, then get another assist to get his 600th career point, and then finally get a goal for his 100th career goal, his first goal in 40 games. And of course, it's against the Blues. I mean, you can't write it any better than that. So he's getting all 3 souvenir pucks to put up on his mantle next to his Conn Smythe and his 2 Norris trophies and his 3 Stanley Cups. But more importantly, this game is tied at 1 goal. So that gives the Hawks some life, and then 3 minutes after that, Blackhawks with another offensive zone draw. Jonathan Toews wins it once again. It gets back to Connor Murphy, and instead of Toews going to the high slot area like he did with Duncan Keith's goal, no, he goes straight to the net, gets a little screen on Binnington. Connor Murphy puts a wrist shot on net from the point, and it gets through because Binnington can't even see it around Toews. I mean, I'm telling you, people, net front presence is where it's at. And because of that, Hawks are up 2-1 going into the second period. The Hawks would have a power play at the end of the first period that would carry over into the second period, and the Hawks, with their league worst power play, would take advantage of it again? Just over a minute into the second period, Blackhawks set up on the power play. The puck comes from Dominic Kubalik to Duncan Keith, then to Patrick Kane. He kind of walks in, and then he unloads a wrist shot that goes posting in past Binnington all complete with a nice Alex DeBrincat screen in front. I'm telling you, net front presence, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's how you score goals in this league. Take away the eyes of the goaltender. The Hawks are up 3-1, having momentum now, but we've seen this before. About 7.5 minutes into the middle frame, the Blackhawks would have a colossal mental and physical and defensive breakdown. Unfortunately, the Blackhawks had a really good shift going at this point in time. They had offensive zone pressure and cycling, and were putting in a lot of work to create a chance, and they did. They got the puck to the front of the net. There was a scramble in front of Binnington, but they couldn't quite get the puck to go in. Blues would take it the other way, and at this point, because of all the effort the Blackhawks put in on their offensive zone, they're tired in the defensive zone, and then the Blues have one of their best shifts of the game. So that was kind of just a double whammy where they're working, and the Hawks players who are just dead tired on defense are just trying to get this puck out, but they can't. And, well, they pay for it. They leave a guy all alone right in front of Crawford. That was really the big part. It wasn't really that they were tired. They just, for whatever reason, left Robert Thomas, who somehow is still not touring with Matchbox 20. He's all alone in front with Crawford, and he just beats Crawford. You can't really say a whole lot with Crawford about that. Like, that was just terrible defense. But unfortunately, Hawks dead tired at this point. Blues score, take advantage of it. Now it's a 3-2 game going into the third period. But as I said earlier, we've seen this before. We've seen the Blackhawks blow a third period lead against the Blues. And, well, that's what would happen in this game. And similarly to the last time these two teams showed up, the Blues would end up scoring 4 goals in the third period. What is it with 4 goals in the third period? Seriously. 6 goals total were scored in this third period, and it all started about 3 minutes in. Blackhawks, just an atrocious turnover in the neutral zone. They had a rush going the other way. You could have easily just dumped the puck in, but they turn it over. A good back check from the Blues, but still, just a bad turnover. Leads to a rush the other way. O'Reilly would end up scoring, and then 16 seconds after that, another atrocious turnover, this time in the defensive zone, so even worse turnover, and that leads to a Sanford goal to make it Blues 4, Blackhawks 3 to start this third period off. And yeah, we've seen this story before. It was at this point that Coach Colleton would call a timeout, and that seemed to work. It seemed to settle the Hawks down a bit, kind of slow the game down. And, well, the Hawks would come out and tie this game up pretty much right away. Matthew Highmore would get a dirty goal right in front, a little bit of commotion in the crease. He would pot it home, make this a 4-4 game. And then shortly after that, the Blackhawks would get another power play, and the Blackhawks, with their league worst power play, would get their third power play goal of the game. Seriously, 3 power play goals in a game. Is that even legal? Nice pass from behind the net from Dylan Strome to Brandon Saad right in front. He blows it by Binnington. And the Blackhawks, just like that, score 2 of their own and retake the lead 5-4. But we've seen this story before. About a minute after that, Justin Falk would rip home a shot from the point, screen in front of Crawford. Not much Crawford could really do there. Actually, it was going wide, and it hit Cuckoo's leg and goes in. I mean, what do you do about that? Just bad luck for the Hawks there. Game is tied, and then with about 6.5 minutes left to go in this game, Blackhawks scrambling in front. Crawford makes a save, but Hawks fail to clear the puck. Sanford gets it and puts it by Crawford. That makes it 6-5. Hawks would get a power play late. They would pull their goalie, but asking for 4 power play goals in a game with a league's worst power play is maybe asking a little too much. Hawks can't get it done, can't tie it up, and this game ends 6-5 in favor of St. Louis. So in review, happy with how Crawford played. Happy that the power play converted, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Penalty killing was good in this game. Yeah, they gave one up early when the Hawks were just reeling as a whole, but then they shut it down after that for the rest of the game. So I would say that was a plus. But the defense just made too many mistakes. And teams like St. Louis, Cup contenders, they're going to pounce on those mistakes. They're going to capitalize on them. And that's what happened in this game. And that's really what's happened all year. So the Hawks' playoff chances are basically gone. We know that. I mean, not officially. And that's why golf clubs aren't behind me yet, because I put those out when the Hawks are mathematically eliminated. But we know they're not making the playoffs. However, it's not all doom and gloom, because if they're not making the playoffs, that means they're going to get a lottery pick. And, well, they're sitting at 7th overall right now. Before the lottery happens, who knows? Maybe the Hawks win the lottery again. Whether they do or not, it doesn't really matter, because this year's draft class is pretty deep. So the Hawks are going to get a good player again. And the Hawks have some really good players in the system. Some really good young players. So, there's reason to be optimistic. Hawks battled injuries this year. They had down years from guys like Alex DeBrincat. The power play really struggled. You get things like that back to an acceptable level, and things can turn out a lot differently. I don't think the Hawks are that far away from making the playoffs again. Maybe not being a cup contender, but I wouldn't say it's far-fetched to think that the Hawks could be in the playoffs as soon as next year if things go their way again. Now, there's things we need to change in the offseason, but we have the offseason to do that. We also have an expansion draft in about a year. So think about that too. When you think about moves that are being made, it's not going to be just for next year. It's also going to be thinking about the expansion draft and how that's going to affect the years after that. So keep that in mind, but yeah, it sucks that we're losing right now. It sucks that we're not going to make the playoffs. However, it's not all doom and gloom. That's all I'm trying to say. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I hope you got some sort of enjoyment out of it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. Once again, I do have a giveaway going on Twitter. I will put a link to the tweet that you just need to retweet to get yourself entered into that giveaway. That'll be in the description. I will pick a winner on Sunday, so the 1st of March. So you got a little bit of time, but not too much. Don't forget about it. Get your entry in so you can get in there to win a $50 NHL.com gift card. And with that said, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.